Very good. Yeah, well, can I use this, please, sir?
Yeah.
Let's remember this minute right here, this conversation, and we all are aligned right now, and you can feel the synergy. The heads are 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals infinite.
Yeah.
It's legitimate.
Can that be our tagline?
But yes, that's cool.
And yes means no and no means yes. Sorry, I feel like that keeps coming in.
I love that. That this is our commitment. Like 100% from here forward. It's like, this is a commitment that we all show up for each other, and this is a commitment that, this is a commitment to get to a position where we have the opportunity to get lost in it.
Yeah.
Because at this moment, we actually don't. Like, I'm talking
Yeah.
financial wealth to the point where we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
Right? This is a point where we go, alright, we look back now, we go, we committed so that we wouldn't ever get lost in this. Remember who we are, where we come from. So when we've got all that financial abundance and experience abundance and everything we want, we still help people. We still
I think
add
before
value.
that.
Absolutely.
And we're doing that now. Like
We are. Exactly, and I know exactly what you mean. You're talking about on a bigger level. And I think at a bigger level we absolutely can. It's remembering that we might not feel like we're where we want to be, but we can still do this sort of stuff to help. It doesn't always need to be financial. It can
For sure.
Can be value in this way, or it can be
We're
giving someone
giving
old
our
clothes,
time.
or
Yeah.
We're giving our time right now, and we're doing it like in a way that we love doing. That's even better.
So I feel in this moment, will you, Sarah and Josh Lees, be married to 3D with me?
Yes.
I do, but well, I'm technically not Sarah and Josh Lees.
Yes. Sarah Lees.
Lashka Lees.
Yeah.
You are Sarah Lee. You are dessert.
Who's appetizer?
I'm definitely breakfast.
Lear and Q.
Your lunch.
I'm the one who eats everything.
You're all day brekkie.
Yes. That's right.
I do love a good brekkie.
This is actually a lot more than what I thought. Trying to.
I will finish everybody's food.
You are all day brekkie speaking. You've got all day brekkie cap on.
If you're an animal, you'd be an ibis.
I would.
He already is. without
Except you don't stink.
Do they stick?
They smell so bad. Have
I
you
can
been to
stink.
South Bank? Have you been to South Bank where they're just there and it's like, I don't know, they look unhealthy and their wings are up and it's like the pink. I'm like,
Bin chooks.
They
Smashing
they
bins.
pick stuff off the tables as people are there. There's zero cares in the world of boundaries.
and it's like they're eating with you. It's like, hang on, when did you get so
I remember
confident?
Chris
Now
that
keep
day.
way
He'd do
close.
this. Chris would do this, and they'd come up and fucking bite his finger.
What?
Right?
If
Wait,
like
put it
Katie
out- it's like
Chris?
it's like a chip to them. So you put your finger out, and they just come up and like.
When was that?
Anything
Like,
That was
be a
years
chip.
ago.
Oh my goodness.
that's right.
Yeah, it's really nice to be in the synergy, like you were saying. I don't even know if that's the right statement for it, but just to be so connected on such a deep level that it's like we can act authentically, but also like I guess our authentic can be crazy, it can be serious, it can
Yeah.
be deep, it can be light. Like
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people start to not feel themselves, because they're going to be a certain way in a certain relationship, and they're going to be a certain way with their friends and a certain way with their family,
Yeah.
and you're pocketing
right.
all of these parts of your personality as opposed to just being that all the time.
And
And
you create that yourself too, because by
Absolutely.
practicing not being yourself around others, you're creating that for your own life. Like,
Yeah, and if
people
it's
like
fake
that,
on
yeah.
camera, then and they like it, then you got to keep doing that.
that's where burnout
Yeah.
and
100%. And yeah, that's something I'm still working on personally, like trying to be myself.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I am definitely. That's why
And
you
you
get
are.
this up to me sometimes.
Yeah, it is
I've been
hard
fake this
though.
whole time.
it's been a bitch
And that
this
was
whole
the
time,
other
still
thing,
there.
like in the pleasing personality part that you kind of picked up on that you really liked, and I think that we all were listening to really closely, is sincerity, and just like absolute sincerity in the way that you act and the way that you speak, and that will always come across to the right people, whether it is the two people that are sitting across from me, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I need at this point. But I know that we're moving bigger scale, and it's going to be global, and we're not going to have everyone feel the sincerity, or they'll have their reservations or their judgments and all of that, and that's okay, because we've had judgments and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
When we weren't in a place of being able to.
You appeal to people who are ready.
I think you also said the thing yesterday of like not people pleasing, but having a pleasing personality. It's remembering that on any scale, and I know a big teacher of mine had been Brené Brown, like in podcasts, and when we watched her doco yesterday, and it was like just so many great points about there's no denying that if you want more with your life and you want to go bigger and you want to play in the arena, as she kind of calls it, you're gonna come up against resistance. There's no way about it. And you have to be vulnerable. I think there's this idea that it's like, if I do this a certain way, if I do that, I'm going to have everyone like me. Even if you don't verbally say it like that, there is some expectation that it's like, I won't tread on anyone's footsteps. And that's the beauty. We're all different. We're all going to have different opinions. And that's going to change the bigger and the larger scale that we put this out to. There's no way around getting people that aren't going to agree. There will be.
Oh, 100%.
There will be people that don't agree, and it's easier said than done to be like, it'll be fine. And
it's moving away from trying to fit in to just being ourselves. And that is belonging. Like, instead of trying to please to fit in, to close yourself into this safe square or box, it's like, fuck the box, out of it. Yeah, exactly. And it's like getting out of that and just... if you do fall down, it's like meeting the other people who are down there and you're like, hey dude, how are you going? Like, that's it. Like, and like, I don't know, having respect for those people who have fallen down as well. And it's like, falling down doesn't mean bad or good. It just means that, like, I always think if you've fallen, that you've taken the chance to try to fly or that kind of thing.
There's a courage there that
there is.
I think that's one of the points that I've always resonated with, and as we're listening to Napoleon Hill, it's something that I keep coming back to, is that whole man in the arena. Like, unless you're in the arena playing at the same level I am, I do not care about what you have to say about me.
Exactly.
Not in a I'm going to come and slam you for saying something negative, but it's like
it's choosing whose comments you choose to take on.
That's it. You just don't have to listen. That's the best part. You just go, your opinion, respected. See ya.
I think one thing that I forget where I heard it from, and it changed my world a bit, was like, don't care about the bad opinions just as much as you shouldn't care about the good ones. So don't get overwhelmed by the good ones and then go, oh, all right, but I don't care about the bad ones. You shouldn't also be caring a great deal about all these positive things, the positive compliments in a sense, because it does give you a deflated sense of like, oh, well, this whole group loves me. It's like you're pleasing.
Yeah.
It gives you an inflated sense of ego, I think. And then every comment from there can give you the deflated sense, I think, of like, oh, it didn't match, it's not quite good enough or whatever. But if you maintain that, thank you, like, that's great. Keep moving forward and not relying on the comment to, I don't know, propel you forward. It's like, like we've always said, I'm doing it anyway. Like,
it's a feedback that you can take on, but feedback's like a coat. You can try it on. If you don't like it, you get rid of it. But it comes back to, like we've talked about. I lost my train of thought because I was watching you eat.
You're thinking I should be eating that.
No, it comes back to if you're allowing things like that to lift you up or bring you down, like, of course it's nice, but you're thinking about yourself again, whereas the whole point of this is to add value to other people.
It's almost like a dependency, like drugs, alcohol. If you're doing it because you think you need that, then there creates this unhealthy relationship and a dependency. But it's like, if we're using the term of comments or whatever, it's like, oh, that's cool. Like, yep, I'm going to use that as a little boost to get me here, but I'm not going to rely on it. I can do without it.
But I think it's the same, even if it's not a social media talk, it's just in friendships, if you're always relying on the positive feedback or the positive you know, the yes people all the time. There's got to be, you know, you're not challenging yourself, or you're not being vulnerable enough to put yourself in situations where until you come up with those people that will not necessarily disagree, but they will challenge you on certain things, that's where the level of comfort zone breaks. If you're always around the yes sayers and, oh, amazing, great. Not saying get out of there. You need those people.
You need your cheerleaders, but you also need your, like...
You need a good mix.
You need somebody to fall around and tell you you're just the person.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's one of the Roman emperors. He literally paid somebody to follow him around and remind him he's a human. Because everyone's like, oh, you know, you're a god, thank you for doing all this. And, you know, it does inflate the ego, but he literally paid somebody to follow him and go, you're just a man.
And
Don't
who
forget
did?
that.
Fires him.
Just a man. Pharaoh's sword.
That's cool. That's a cool story, though, eh?
Cool. It is, and that goes to show again. That's another example of something so ancient that it's like, yes, it might not be marketed in the same way it is now, but it's the same principle of like, you're nothing special, and that's not an insult, but you are a speck on this whole world, and that's a great thing. Like that means,
like, you have a special purpose here, yes, as to why the hell you were created and made it through the birth canal in the first place. Like, but if you ever get to the point where, like, my teacher says, if you think you start getting, I'm special, his teachers told him, stop it.
Yeah.
Like, stop. Because the ego then takes over and it rules. And it's so powerful.
it's like anything that we've listened to, you say it enough times, you believe it. So even if you think, I'm not going to get affected by that, if you're hearing it enough times, it's like, there's no different from hearing it from someone versus listening to an audio book. It's something coming into your head going, you are this and you are that. And over time you hear it enough, you actually do believe it. And it's that thing to catch yourself. It's not about never feel great about things or never feel like you are special, because you should be your own cheerleader in situations, but at the same time don't get so over the top with it where it's like, again, like you said, it's all about you then. It's like, well, what will they think of me doing this? Or it's like, well, you're not being you then, are you?
Yeah. Right, well, you want to finish these chats, so go through, like, we'll talk about like one person who we learn from now and how it integrates back to this older style of thing and how far it can go back. And also just mention one thing that you do practice daily to incorporate this in one way or another.
Nice.
Yeah. Sure. Should we pause at the start again, or should we just go and
we'll
cut
just
it?
keep going.
Right, is there enough video left? Just want to check it. It should say at the top.
It's just counting as normal. It doesn't probably do it.
Alright. Try and do like a couple minutes each, real quick.
I think I haven't even thought about who I'm going to choose, but the first one that comes to mind is Jim Rohn for some reason. I've got a lot of like mentors and people that I look up to in the dog training or in the other world, but he is someone that I feel like I always come back to because even if it's like, you know, I'm just in the car ride for a couple of minutes, putting him on, I feel like I get that worldly, that worldly view on exactly what we've just been chatting about the whole time, is like you are just a person, in the sense of like, if you focus on you focus on where you're going, you will get there. And I think from Napoleon Hill, it's like there were a lot of similarities, like in terms of, I think, the applied faith. So like knowing who you are and knowing what you stand for, having an idea of what desire you have in this world, what do you want to be, where do you want to go. And that comes with journaling, and a lot of the other exercises that he talks about is like, it's not about what is my purpose, writing one sentence. If you actually journal and log what you're doing over the period of your life, you can read back on that after a month and go, well, a consistent thing that was great in my life and all of here was going out on the boat, like road tripping with the dogs, whatever it is. And it's like, well, that can be my purpose. It doesn't need to be give $1 million away to charity. Like that's amazing, but I'm saying it doesn't need to be that scale of everyone's scale in how they view their purpose is going to be different.
100%.
So I think that's something that was one key part from the Napoleon Hill that I took away, is like having that burning desire and that purpose, and doing that through your journaling and doing that through your practice. And that's something that I've been working on, because I know journaling for me didn't come as easy, like I'm sure with anyone. So it's like every night, and I don't do the perfectionist stuff, because that's another one that Napoleon Hill chats about, is like just be you. Don't try and make it perfect or sound a certain way. So I just journal exactly what I did in the day. I don't try and go, how many amazing things. I just journal it as a log for myself. And I've found when I've read over it, it is interesting, because it's like, oh, well, I gave this tip to someone, or bumped into this person and smiled at them and they smiled back. It's like these basic small moments of just capturing a little bit more about your personality, and that's helped me a lot, I think, in learning a bit more about who I am and what I want to do.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome, girl. Awesome. It's really cool, because who comes to mind for me is my teacher, Rod Stryker, and how he frameworks a lot of his workshops. He's got different courses that he does, different trainings, but the one that I've come back to a number of times is the 4 Desires, and that really kind of seems to me like the preliminary course that kind of should be done. Like, I've done them in different orders and whatnot, but when you read that, it's like the 4 Desires of life, which he's learnt from his teacher, many of his teachers, and they were the Indians who didn't write anything down. It was learnt from their teachers. And then his current teacher, who is an Indian, he is translating stuff to the world now, and so he still learns from him, delivers his courses and whatnot. But what I've always loved about Rod is that he's so much of a yogi, and he's so in his purpose, but he's still able to relate to you and I. And that's what I feel like I want to absorb from him. It's like, I want to have my spiritual practice and live this life that's, is all encompassing, but I'm still a human living in the Western world, and there are roles and responsibilities that I have to play here. So the 4 Desires are Dharma, which is knowing your life's purpose, and then you go through a series of figuring that out. But then you also go into the other desires of life, which, at different stages of your life, when you're younger, it can be more strong. And then there's Artha, which is your material possessions. So it's like, your financial security and all of the things that help you achieve your purpose. And then there's Karma, so not like the karma that most people know about. It's like Kama, karma, and that's pleasures in life. So what you enjoy, what lights you up, what is play for you, what does feel good. And yeah, it's like probably at a younger age, when we're very little, that's probably a dominant kind of desire. And then there's moksha, which is spiritual freedom, or just, liberation in general, which is something that we're all kind of on the path to, which is why we're focusing on our purpose and putting so much energy into it, is because all of this discipline gives us the freedom physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. And yeah, I don't know, I just feel like his teachings sum it up in a very easy way, because I think we're so wired now to do things so quickly, of like, I just want to know it now. But it's like, you also have to put in the work. But I don't want to be overwhelmed. If there's 20 desires, I'm like, I'm tapping out. Like, so yeah, the 4 Desires, I think, is a nice way of discovering your life's purpose, figuring out where you currently sit right now, and then you work towards like a resolution or a sankalpa to where you want your life to go. And it might be needing to work more on, for me, like the financial security side or something. So that will be my, that will be my intention for maybe 6 to 18 months, really work with that. And then it could change to actually needing to bring more play in. So, in 3 years, my sankalpa or intention could be very different. But I was going to say something with the question to
Napoleon Hill.
Or how you're implementing it.
Yeah, how I'm implementing it. Thank you. So I have a daily practice, or a daily sadhana, which keeps me balanced. And Rod is very much about, documenting your practice. And And so that for me has changed over the years to being a very like literal thing of like pre-practice, post-practice, physical, mental, energetic. I kind of write that down in that way. To now, it still does have all of those components, but throughout the day I'll just document like other things that have happened in the day that's like, yeah, like you said, running into somebody or going to get coffee with Sarah and Josh and I'm feeling really excited about it kind of thing, or I made this bath today and that was a really great feeling. And like something that how I do implement like our Tony Robbins stuff is like at the end of it, it's like I always write like pre and post, like whether I write this like 10 times a day, it's like I am courage, I am faith, I am love, I am whole. And it's kind of having my little incantations or my own personal mantras that I write down, and I write how I'm grateful for already feeling the way that I'm wanting to feel. So it's like I'm like grateful for this abundance of love. It's like even if I'm not feeling it at the time, it's like write it as though it's happening. And yeah, like embedding it in physiology and then in word and then in practice is like
amazing. It's a good combination of, you've got the physical, the mental, the spirit. Yeah, it's like a practice that encompasses every way of learning and being. So it's not all written or it's not all physical. It's a good mix.
And it's been both, like it's been all of them. It's been physical. That stressed me out. It's been really spiritual and mental. It's like, that's stressing me out because I can't maintain it. And it's like, actually, it can be everything. It can be what you want.
I like how you don't have to spread all of your time across all four. Where, like you said, 6 to 18 months is just going to be the financial stuff, and that's cool because you can spend times of your life working hard on something. Like like right now, we're going to spend that time to try and create that financial wealth so that we can move into a different area of all of our lives, so we don't have to spend all our time doing that. It's not about finance, it's about contribution.
And that's efficiency. Like, because if you always, and this is where it's like really realizing what efficiency is when you haven't had it. It's like, oh my God, I've just scattered myself and thought I was doing this, but when you have no framework,
the like, quote that comes to mind is jack of all trades, master of none. You're trying to do too many things and you're not actually honing in on one and getting really solid in that first.
Yeah.
All right,
How about you, Josh?
I guess I'll probably go with Tony Robbins, who learned from
Take the Destiny?
Unleashing the power within.
No, who did he learn from? Who was the old dude?
Oh, Jim Rohn. Sorry, I didn't know where you were going.
I absolutely forgot about
Yeah, he did too.
Since Unleashed the Power Within in September, and then Day with Destiny, like our lives have just taken off completely and I think for me, so the biggest one is focus. So as he says, the triad, which is state, focus, and language, and that can be life right there. Those three things can be a total life. How you are feeling in any moment, you can create the habit to feel absolutely pumped and ready to win, or you could create the habit to sit on the couch and watch TV 8 hours a day. It's totally up to you, and you can do that through physiology. Jump up and just freaking like raise a roof for 2 seconds, and that energy just pumps through your body. So the focus, once you're in that state, moving into what do I want, and that comes back to the purpose. What do I want? What am I wanting to achieve? And that's exactly what we're going through with Napoleon at the moment as well. Is like, that is you focus on what you want and not what you don't want. So focus just on what you want, and things will fall into place in front of you. So that's probably one of the biggest things I've got from Tony, and like implementing that into my life is every morning I do the priming, and I bounce for 5 minutes and on a little rebounder, and I go through my virtues and my incantations, and I ask myself the 7 questions. What am I happy about? What am I excited about? What am I proud of? What am I grateful for? What do I enjoy? What am I committed to? And who do I love and who loves me? And that's my morning routine every single day. So every single day starts off with like an emotional flood of goodness. But part of my priming, it's like I'm thinking of what I'm grateful for. I can think of 3 different things could be yesterday, could be when I was 10, you know, like, but then the 3 to 5 at the end of that, and it seems to be consistent now, is I know exactly what I want moving forward. And putting that into your mind and visualizing it and visualizing having it. Don't visualize achieving it. Visualize that you've already achieved. Now what's your life like? And you live that every single damn day, and it's awesome. So yeah, for me it's like I've got my partnership set up. I've got my courses created. They're creating massive income, and then we're now doing whatever we want, and that's a mix of absolute play and fun, but it's also a mix of how we're giving back now. So like we're giving back through what we're doing right now. We're giving back through the courses that we're creating, or the systems, or, you know, the yoga. Like, all of that is giving back in one way, shape, or form, and that's also creating the income that we want. And I'm focusing on that every single day. So, yeah, that's probably my biggest takeaway of where that is. And the language.
The language is huge, and like what I love about that is that it's not an end goal. It's like
it's a living.
It's living, and it's living to the end with those values and those virtues. And when you accomplish one goal, it's like, okay, how am I still giving back? Because when we hit complacency, it's like, oh, well, I'm done. I finished my goal. Okay, well, I guess I get to be in this cool house, but somehow I'm not happy anymore.
No, it's Tony in his book says constant and never-ending improvement.
Yeah.
So it's, sure, you reach goals, but what's your next bigger goal? Always have those things planned out prior. But one thing I really took away from, so Phil Town is my investing mentor, I guess. And one thing I really liked, and this is totally not even investing, but this is, I guess, a mindset thing, is people have a goal, but goals cannot be achieved. Whereas if you're an integral person and you promise something, you will always deliver on that promise. So part of creating my goals is it's not a goal, it's a promise. So you promise yourself, I will have this by this date. And like he put it into a really simple thing. It's like if your daughter's partner come up to you and said, look, it's a goal of mine to marry your daughter. It's like, oh, sorry, let me read it. If your daughter's partner came up to you and said, look, I'm going to marry your daughter and it's a goal of mine to look after her. It's like, it's a goal, like, you want to hear him say, I promise you I'll do this. And that's just like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Like, you promise me that you're going to do this. Whereas, like, it's my goal to look after her, and it's my goal to make sure that she's got a safe life. It's like, well, it's your goal. You need to make that happen. If you promise yourself that it's going to happen, it will happen. So
it's non-committed, isn't it, in a way?
Promise is a totally new commitment.
Right.
I think that, like, just listening to you, it's funny how already there's similarities with all of it, and it's like, I think, the top one, just listening to you chat, that is so important, is like, before we think about our purpose or even, you know, create that desire or whatever, like, getting into state first. I think that was the game changer of, like, and how we could function for those 16, 17-hour days on little sleep. All of it was getting into state. And how many times like you're going through the exercises or you peek through the book, which I did, and I'm like, no clue what I'm going to write in that bit. And then by the time you get to it, you've jumped around and it comes. And that's something that, after listening to you say it, it's like, it's something that's a constant thing, like, that's great to practice every day, because it doesn't mean it needs to be on a rebounder. It doesn't need to be jumping jacks. It doesn't need to look a certain way. But however you get in state, do that before you've got any exercise or any writing, any journaling. Shake your body out or move it in a flow or whatever it is, and then you'll find that it'll just naturally
come from the heart, then not the head.
Exactly.
And also, like, what that speaks to for me is that, you know, you're looking ahead. And you're like, I could never. How am I going to get through the next? We're day one, 2 hours into day one. I'm buggered. How am I ever going to complete this? Do the work, do the practice, move your body every day. You will get there when you're ready. The time will come, and it's like, oh.
And even if it's not a negative thing of looking going, because it definitely wasn't like that. It was more like, oh,
no,
what would I say? But it is amazing how when you're in state at the right time, and that was, I think, I don't know if we wrap it up with that of Napoleon Hill, but it's like you will get what you need when you are ready. That is the key that he chatted about in every...
That is every master. The teacher arrives when the student is ready. And same. The student arrives when the teacher is ready.
Exactly, yeah. And it's nice to know that everything we're learning these days from people still alive, people in the future will teach the same things. We're going to teach the same things. But it all goes back to well before our generation, our parents' generation, the generation before them. Is the law of attraction is real. And if you constantly are always focusing on what you want, you will get it. But if you're focusing on everything you don't want in order to get what you do want, then you're always going to get what you don't want.
Absolutely. I think it's also why, like, even thinking about the dog training side, I have dog training mentors, but I have very few. I have more personal development mentors. I have more people mentors than I do dog, because that's a small... It's so important. Like, you know, a lot of people have all these groups. It's like, if you can't understand people, you don't understand people behaviour, how they think, why they do what they do. The animal is... It's a separate beast, literally. It doesn't... You're not going to get through to the dog if you haven't understood the person. And I've thought about that a lot of, you know, different mentors, and it's funny how they come through in different ways. It's not going to be, like I was saying earlier, necessarily a dog one. It'll be the people one that get you better with people and yourself. And that funnels into everything else, my 3D beauties.
It's even like, I was just thinking then too, like, you know, the comedians and stuff that we've resonated with, the ones that have been like the more connected to the human, who have analysed human behaviour. And it's like, I was just thinking of like relate. The law of attraction of like Carl Barron. He tells that joke of like going to a cafe and you're looking at the shit bit, and you order one, you're like, oh, I'll just have it like a carrot cake. And it's like you're looking at the shit bit, and they get it, and you're like, oh, not that one, but you don't say anything. And it's like, because you're staring right at it, you're giving it
concentrating on it.
Yeah.
It's just it's from everything from small to big. Like, it's like you want everything in the world, focus on it, and you'll get it.
Yeah, completely.
Cool.
People. Awesome. Yeah.
All right, signing out.
Over and out.